The last premium live event on the road to WrestleMania 42 is this Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, for Elimination Chamber Chicago, where we've got CM Punk going to be defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Finn Balor. We've also got the Women's Intercontinental Championship on the line, Becky Lynch going against AJ Lee. And, well, we've got Elimination Chamber matches to decide who will be going to WrestleMania 42 to take on some champions. To take on Women's Champion Jade Cargill will be either Kiana James, Asuka, Raquel Rodriguez, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, and Tiffany Stratton. And on the men's side, who could take on Drew McIntyre? We've got Jey Uso, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and L.A. Knight. Yeah. Next to me in the hot seat is the one and only Mr. NX Steve. It's great to have you with us as always. It's predictions time, ladies and gentlemen. So share your predictions in the comments below. We'll also be answering what's in the box? What's in that crate? We need to know. We need to find out. Maybe it's the most exciting part of the show. Who knows? But I'm going to get your excitement levels of this show out of 10, NX Steve.
I'd probably say a 6. I think I'm more looking forward to aspects of the matches rather than, I don't know, like this has the potential to be one of them ones that really, because this sets up WrestleMania for a lot of things, and you kind of like, yeah, a lot of people are expecting the obvious, but I'm hoping they throw out a shock win somewhere. Like, don't get me wrong, a Trick Williams winning the Chamber would be fantastic. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's one of them ones where it's kind of hard to get. It's the February pay-per-view, and it's kind of like, look, these have a history of sucking, and the only thing that makes them exciting is the Chamber matches. So look, I'm going to say a reserved 6.
Interesting enough, I think I'm a bit higher than you on this one. I think I'm about a 7.5. Look, don't get me wrong. I think WWE is a bit of a mixed bag right now. I think they've got some really good stuff going on, but they have some lackluster stuff going on as well. The Balor and Punk feud for me has been really good. I've really enjoyed the work they've been doing to build to this, and I do think it's leading to WrestleMania path as well for Finn Balor, which I will be going into when we get to the match. AJ Lee and Becky Lynch is surprisingly having their singles match here at Elimination Chamber rather than being saved for Mania. Will it be a rematch of WrestleMania? We'll have to wait and see. Look, the Elimination Chamber is an exciting match concept. The only thing that I would say that probably waters it down slightly, it has become slightly the Temu Royal Rumble, because these days, if you don't win the Royal Rumble, this is your second chance to get to Mania, where back in the old days, I said the old days, about 10, 15 years ago, you would have the Royal Rumble to determine the challengers, and the Chamber would determine the champion. The champion had their hardship going through the Elimination Chamber because they didn't have a Royal Rumble to go through. But now it's almost like, well, we have other champions aligned who don't have opponents. So you've got one more crack, and here it is at the Elimination Chamber, which, of course, it still has its fun concept. I think the matches have got great superstars in them as well. I think there should be some great spots in them. Maybe there's some predictability in amongst the winners, but time will tell. We've got a lot to dive into with it, but for me, it's a 7.5. You said that the Elimination Chamber matches are probably what you're most looking forward to, but what is the match you're most looking forward to on the show if you had to pick one?
I'd probably say Punk and Balor, just because like I want it to go a certain way and lead up to something special at WrestleMania. I think the Chamber matches are going to be fun, especially like the men's one where like I said, you've got Trick Williams, you've got Javon Evans in there. I'm expecting some really good stuff from the men's one, but the Punk Balor match is the one I'm looking forward to mostly.
Yeah, just because of the story. Look, I'm a story guy. I feel the exact same. Punk versus Balor is what I'm most looking forward to. Surprised enough, the box actually, where I was really excited for it when it first came up on Raw. I thought myself, this is going to be fun. Last year's big Elimination Chamber hook was, will The Rock be able to take Cody Rhodes' soul, which he didn't get in the end, and we got a John Cena heel turn. This year, we've just got a random box, which I think most people's hoping going to be Chris Jericho, but instead it's probably going to be something different. But we'll go into that as we go later into the video. But it seems to be there needs to be a hook of the Elimination Chamber. It's not the same pool that perhaps maybe it once was. There are rumors as well of WWE struggling to sell tickets amongst the markets at the moment, including for WrestleMania 42, which maybe we can touch on more a bit later on.
Yeah, look, the problem is that this has been a slow decline for the last year, and like you said, the Chamber's lost its aura, and it's really hard to do anything special with it. Like when we did Extreme Rules, and it was like think it was Extreme Rules, where every match was a different stipulation, and it made it exciting and it made you want to watch it. But like you said, when it comes to Chamber, it's just like, oh well, you didn't win the Rumble. Here you go. It's it's going to be the thing is that you look at the card, the calendar of pay-per-views, and you look at Chamber and you just go, well, they're going to be number one contender matches. That's all it is. And just like I said, it loses the I don't know. It almost loses the story and intrigue. Like if you go back to like Michaels and Taker, like in the Chamber, like when Shawn Michaels burst through the floor because he wanted to face Taker. Like, do you know what I mean? The Chamber played a part in that story. And it just feels like there is no story with the Chamber matches. It's just really a case of, oh, you're in it to win it. That's it, really.
I mean, what you're crying there is, and which I think we all hope for coming out of this weekend, is that the Chamber's not just used to build a number one contender, it's also used to build stories and matches for WrestleMania, whether it's someone bursting through the ring, whether it's someone, it's throwing someone for a pod, maybe. For example, Jade Cargill last year taking Naomi out of the Elimination Chamber before it started. It built a story going to WrestleMania, which is something that we hope we're going to get with something like that this year, which could be quite interesting. But I think for me, the thing with the concept of the Elimination Chamber, I think it can be the same detriment that you see with a lot of other these gimmicked pay-per-views. I think with the placement, sometimes when you need a reason to have those matches, they make more stakes. And of course, that there's always a reason for a chamber match when WrestleMania is on the line. I just think maybe some years you can vary up. Maybe one year it's number one contenders, the next year it's the champions. And I think that just keeps it a bit fresh. But look, one thing's for sure, we've got some great people that will be taking part in them. You mentioned Trick Williams. Javon Evans excites me, the idea of what he can do in an Elimination Chamber. I think that's going to be really exciting. So time will tell how it will play out. But it should be a fun show regardless this Saturday. And hopefully all directions will be pointing towards WrestleMania after this, because it's going to be a wild ride, that's for sure. We've got a question from Jonesy, which we'll answer when we get to the box, because it's regarding the box. But we also have a comment that has come in through Tom Talks Rubbish, just saying hello. Thank you, Tom, for joining us. Hope you're doing well. And let us know your predictions, everybody. We want to know your predictions for this show. And if you can hit the like button as well, share with a friend, subscribe, all that good stuff as well. But let's dive into our first match then, shall we? We're 7 minutes into the stream, so it's a good time to get going. We're going to talk about the World Heavyweight Championship to kick things off. CM Punk versus Finn Balor. Most people probably thought when we had this original World Heavyweight Championship match on Raw in Belfast on the island of Ireland that Finn Balor was getting the home country treatment. This would be one and done. Finn Balor's not won any singles matches in 2025 allegedly, and we thought to ourselves, okay, this will be it. It'll be on Raw. Punk will win and we'll move on to the next thing. But Finn Balor had a fantastic performance, a fantastic showing. Ireland was showing up in full force. And for one night, I think we all believed in Finn Balor again. We believed and wanted to see the push of Finn Balor once again in WWE. And of course, Balor came out to his old music as well, which I think was just a refreshment of him, really. I think his new music just hasn't got the same kick to it. And from that point onwards, I mean, Finn Balor was wanting to be in the Royal Rumble match, but the match was full. He couldn't be included, and they stuck to that as well, which I thought was actually kind of good in the end, because they've made it work. Because, well, Finn Balor had to find another way to get a title match. He ruined CM Punk's final opportunity of having a match with AJ Styles in AJ Styles' career, their only singles match in WWE. It was a false finish. Balor was the reason and cost Punk that victory, that moment to have a conclusive victor. So for that reason, there was a receipt waiting for Finn Balor, and Balor's interrupted promos as well to make sure that CM Punk was goated into giving him a world title match. And of course, it's not just in any location. The first match was in Balor's home country. Well, this time it's in America, yes, of course, where CM Punk is from, but it's also in Chicago, where Punk is also from. The role is reversed here, which makes things quite interesting. But Punk has said, listening to Finn Balor's accolades of saying what he's done, Punk claimed to be the best of the world, and Finn saying, maybe it's me who's had his time fighting in Mexico, doing it in Japan as well, where he's got a club going on, battling and through the European style as well, and having all those things going on, being a demon, winning the world title, defeating Roman Reigns on your first night on Monday Night Raw. Maybe those are the parts that make you best in the world. Where Punk said in simply reply, those are all things you did before you had the Judgment Day. And those things in the Judgment Day are what holding you back, because you should be elevating those talents. They're pulling you down to their level, which Balor's now said, well, I now need to do this on my own. I need to prove I can beat CM Punk, that I am on his level. Judgment Day is saying Punk's in your head. Well, maybe they are, but I need to do this for me. I need to do it on my own. So Balor's asked for that. Dominic Mysterio has actually said, well, hang on, I got a qualifying match for Elimination Chamber. No one helped me, and I didn't qualify. I wanted the help. And Balor's maybe said, you maybe need to step up. There's a lot of different variables that go into what this storyline has played along at. And to be honest, I'm here for the journey. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, look, the interesting one with this is that both guys have come with facts in terms of storytelling. Like everything they've both said is factual, and it makes it a lot more intriguing rather than just a typical, heel promo comes out, puts down local town, whatever. Sure, you could do that because it is Chicago, but like you said, you've got this guy who was like the first ever Universal Champion, and he's never won a world title since. He's won other titles, but again, since he's been in the Judgment Day, a couple of tag team titles? I think did he win the IC title as well? I think at some point maybe. I don't even think he did win that.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's just like he's not been the guy that everyone loves. And like you said, you go back to his Ireland, the match in Dublin where he comes out to his old music, and yeah, just obviously nostalgia for anyone who's watched it long enough. Anyone who watched Black and Gold NXT, like. It brought so many memories back, and you sit and think about how good Finn Balor should be and where he should be on the card. And like you said, you got the Punk who's obviously laying down the facts. You haven't done anything since you've been with Judgment Day, and the whole best in the world argument. Like I know it's a bit of a cliche argument that he uses, but I think there's a bit of legitimacy when it comes to Balor because Balor's obviously done it in all these other promotions around the world. So he does. He like, do you know what I mean? Punk's never been to New Japan and been IWGP Heavyweight Champion. That would be, and like, do you know what I mean? Balor's one of the reasons we're like one of the biggest factions in the world exists today, which is Bullet Club. Do you know what I mean? So there is arguments for both sides, and I think my biggest problem with this is going to be the finish of this match because I don't think this is going to finish clean. I think this is going to go either one of two ways. It's going to be a Balor win by interference, or it's going to be a Punk win by interference, which is going to set up Balor for WrestleMania. Me personally, I'd love to see Balor win via interference, and then we get a triple threat at Mania. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Triple H is going to pencil that in, because we know what that WrestleMania card looks like at the minute, and it's about, you know what I mean? It's written in pencil because he's rubbing it out and rewriting it every week at the minute. And I'd love to see a triple threat between the three of them because I think there's a lot of intrigue there. Like you said, you had Balor's history with Roman Reigns, you had Balor's Punk's history with Roman Reigns, and then you had this new feud with Punk and Balor. It's just a bit of everything, really, and it kind of makes a lot of sense in terms of storytelling. I just don't think Balor's going to get it. I don't think Balor's going to get that main event. And the reason why I lean into that as well is one of my favourite matches from WrestleMania, like ideally one of the worst WrestleManias ever, is that triple threat match that had Seth Rollins, The Miz, and Finn Balor for the IC title, which was great. And I think if you can get Balor in with these two as well, I think it just adds so much more to it.
I mean, it's an excitement prospect, isn't it? A triple threat match with Punk. Punk and Roman is already set for Mania, but if Balor could come into it, would be a lot of fun as well. But I think, though, a lot of people sort of dream the idea that, we've had this story narrative playing out of Punk, you're jeopardizing your WrestleMania main events. You're jeopardizing one of the biggest main events of all time, where Balor said, well, hang on, I'm looking to improve it. Well, he's not looking to improve it by making it a triple threat match. He's looking to replace Punk. I don't think, like you said, the triple threat's ever an idea here. It's going to be one or the other versus Roman, which I think is why a lot of people clearly look at the idea of Punk as a clear favorite to win this match. But this match is simply also about Finn Balor now realizing he is at the level to win a world title again. He has to prove it to himself that he can be at a world title level. And I think this match, like you say, I mean, how amazing would it be if Finn Balor was to win this championship? It would be an incredible twist for WrestleMania because a lot of people would be questioning, whoa, what's going to happen next? There'll be stories, and you need to tune into Monday Night Raw. Is it now Balor versus Roman? Will it be a case that perhaps Balor holds the title for a couple of days like he did with the Universal title and drops it back to Punk on Raw? Could that be something they could do? And it's a screw up with the Judgment Day on Raw because he won it on his own on the PLE, but then Judgment Day are the reason he loses it on Raw. That could be a really interesting plot twist because we don't know Roman's schedule. Is Roman Roman going to be like around like every week after this? Is going to be spontaneous? We're not quite sure. But the thing is as well, and this is where I come into prediction territory. I'm like you. This is one or two ways. Finn Balor said he needs to do this on his own. And you just get the feeling that Judgment Day are not going to listen to this. And Balor could have this won. And Dominic Mysterio might just be the reason that actually Finn Balor doesn't get the job done because Dominic didn't listen. And the interesting part as well is that on Monday Night Raw, Dominic Mysterio is defending the Intercontinental Championship against Penta, what feels like the 800th time. They've faced a lot in the last calendar year. I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think Penta's winning the IC title next week on Raw. And I think the reason on it as well is because potentially Balor doesn't help Dominic out. And especially if there's an argument, if there's a mix-up at Elimination Chamber, that's going to lead to Dominic Mysterio turning on Finn Balor and potentially the whole Judgment Day as well. I think Finn Balor is going to be winning a world title again, and he's going to win it in 2026. It's just not going to be the World Heavyweight Championship. I think Finn Balor wins the Triple R Mega Championship at WrestleMania from Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, that was my guessing as well. I didn't really want to see him with the IC title back on again because I feel like there's no progression with that. We've seen that so many times before, and look, I'm sure I've said it half a dozen times that I'd love to see that AAA Mega Championship defended at WrestleMania. I think we did our WrestleMania predictions, and I said Ray versus Dom for the AAA title. But yeah, I think, excuse me, it's a bit of a cop-out putting the AAA title on Balor, but I think the whole having that title defended at WrestleMania is what it's meant to be about. And I like the way they're going, but at some point, I want to see Finn Balor back in a WWE World Title scene. So yeah, as much as I hate to say it, I think it's going to go the way of Punk retaining via Judgment Day interference, and it ends up costing Balor the match. I'm going to say Punk wins, but yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be Dom versus Balor at Mania for that AAA title.
Absolutely remains Punk versus Roman for the World Heavyweight Championship. And just to clarify, by the way, Finn Balor would have a whole promotion on his shoulders. He would be the main guy, which is a big deal. WWE have purchased AAA, and they are going to want to see that market move forward. And if they've given Dominic Mysterio a run with that title, obviously it's experience of having a world championship, which is something Dominic has needed because he will be a future world champion himself. He's had the IC title for the best part of the last 12 months as well, so plenty of experience, ready to move to the next level. I think that could move Dom up the ladder in WWE, pun intended, and I think it can do the same for Finn Balor. I do not think he is finished in a world championship picture. I think Balor is in for a strong 2026, and I think the Judgment Day has just run its course. It is time for for this group now to kind of break away and do its own separate thing, even if maybe a couple of them stay together. For example, Dom, Liv, and Raquel might stay together. Maybe Roxanne as well. We'll have to wait and see. But you can see there are cracks in all different places. But yeah, I think for sure here, Balor is going to lose to Punk. That's the main part we are predicting here. It remains Punk versus Roman. Night 2 main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Let's move on then to our next match in the meantime, which is going to be for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch, of course, the greatest female wrestler of all time, and she's not the only person saying it. Sports Illustrated says it. The Bleacher Report are saying it as well. Going to be taking on AJ Lee. Also, hailing from Chicago. Can we get to Chicago celebrations here and a brand new Women's IC champion? Obviously, there has been a lot of altercations with Becky Lynch and AJ Lee, but not in a singles match. AJ Lee has not had a singles match in well over a decade, but these two have been involved in a mixed tag team match that involved Becky Lynch tapping out to AJ Lee at WrestlePalooza last year. Becky Lynch would tap out again to AJ Lee in War Games at Survivor Series last year. And AJ Lee, of course, has been a distraction for Becky Lynch when she dropped the Intercontinental Championship to Maxine Dupree in Madison Square Garden of November last year as well. In AJ Lee's absence, Becky Lynch has won the title back. And now, well, we're getting this match now instead of WrestleMania. I guess Chicago feels like the right place. Maybe this could lead to a rematch of WrestleMania. Maybe it may not. What I will say is that I have enjoyed this feud overall because it's been spread out over some days and months, if you will. It's not just been something we've had for 2 weeks and it's gone to PLE and now we've got the match. We've had to really wait our time to get to this position. It does feel like an important match. The women's IC title again is in the spotlight, which is great to see for the mid card championship. But this has been such a one-sided rivalry, which is why I'm going to get into the prediction early on this one. We spent a long time on Punk versus Balor. I think I can do this one in a quicker time. Whilst I think it would be amazing for AJ Lee to win the title in Chicago, I think that this is the perfect place for Becky to get her first part of advantage over AJ Lee. I think she needs to cheat to win, and I think that this match needs to carry over to WrestleMania, where I think that's where AJ Lee can beat Becky Lynch and win the women's IC title. And then we can see Becky Lynch have a meltdown post WrestleMania. I think this feud is too far in to end at Chamber. I think it needs to continue to Mania. So therefore, I'm going to say that I think Becky Lynch should pick up the win here. It's been too one-sided. And just to give a reference of an old rivalry that was a bit like that, Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar going to WrestleMania 30. Undertaker had the advantage every single week. And it came to WrestleMania 30 and Brock won.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree with you fully. You can't have Punk and AJ win, both of them in Chicago, so one of them's bound to lose. It's going to be AJ just for the pure fact that she doesn't have a title. They're going to do it like a. It's going to be like a roll up where Becky's holding onto the ropes or something. Do you know what I mean? Somewhere protecting AJ, which then forces them to do the rematch. Like I said, I agree with you. I can see Becky retaining. I have also liked this story. I think my problem is though it's we've not had enough of AJ, and we've kind of like we had splashes of AJ. We then took her away and filled it with Maxine, and now we're back to AJ, which I'm fine with. But the last week, not this week, last week, when you've got AJ Lee calling Becky Boo Boo like Yogi Bear, I was dying with laughter, and I'm like, how can we have not had more of this in the build to this? I'm hoping, like you said, that we get that rematch at WrestleMania, and from here till Mania, we just get more of that. I want AJ Lee just absolutely. In fact, I'd almost like a role reverse. I would like AJ to be serious and Becky to be the sarcastic child, if anything, and just see how like give Becky that overconfidence because she's got the win, and then force her into having the rematch at WrestleMania somehow. But we need more of these two in some sort of on-screen dynamic because the tiny little bits we've had have been so good.
They really have been, and that's why I want to see more of it going into May. Like you say, now we're getting to the nitty gritty, the crunch time. Hopefully, we are going to get more of a full time from both of these ladies rather than just part time AJ Lee, because that's, like you said, that's the thing that's probably held this feud back from not being a match sooner. But also at the same time, I would have liked to see an interaction with them in the Rumble, for example. I think that could have worked really, really well. For example, I mean, Becky Lynch was eliminated by Natalya in the Royal Rumble. You'd have liked to have seen AJ Lee do that instead, and maybe Natalya could have gone behind and thrown AJ Lee out because of the fact that AJ Lee was distracted by Becky afterwards. Something like that could have just been a little Easter egg that would have kept this going on the road rather than having a big gap from November all the way till around about now. So yeah, I kind of agree with you. I want to ask a question that you speculated on this a little while ago. I just mentioned about Becky Lynch being eliminated by Natalya in the Royal Rumble, the women's IC title. Natalya wants, new Natty Neidhart wants to win this title. Maxine Dupree has been champion previously, and AJ Lee's been the mentor for Maxine Dupree. Is there a chance that this match has been done now because it could be a four-way at WrestleMania? That could be the direction instead to get everybody on the card. Or do you think this is just simply, this is a setup here? Maxine and Natty are going to be two, let's just say, pawns on the road to WrestleMania, but will not be featured on the big dance itself.
I mean, I wouldn't mind the four-way. There is intrigue there, and I think I'd prefer the four-way instead of a Natty versus Maxine Dupree match at WrestleMania. So the four-way probably makes a lot more sense. You've got, like you said, AJ, who's barely wrestled since coming back. Becky, who obviously is... Becky and Natty are essentially veterans at this point. Like, they've been doing it for so long. And you've got Maxine, while has improved, is still green. And I think it's a great way for everyone to get over in one match. You also can protect Becky if Becky's not the one to take the loss. whether it be Natty, whether it be Maxine, neither of those two could really be affected by taking a loss in a four-way for a title because it's Natty, and that's what Natty does. Natty is there to enhance other talent. I just generally would like to see AJ lead with this title. That's what I really want to see. I've seen Maxine with it. Not really fussed by Natty. Natty's been here, there, and everywhere, and it's not really bothered. But AJ's obviously returned to pro wrestling. The IC title, they're doing such a good job of building a heritage and a lineage for that thing. We've had the Becky Lynches, we've had the Lyra Valkyrias, we've had the Maxine Duprees. We need a Hall of Famer, well, I mean, a future Hall of Famer in AJ Lee to be someone to wear that title, even if it's for like a month. Whatever. I just think it's a great way to add more lineage to that title with someone like AJ Lee holding it.
Absolutely. Look, even if it's like Raw after Mania, depends on injury status here, but Roxanne Perez is the one then to take it off of AJ Lee. I feel that's the cycle. Becky to AJ, AJ to Roxanne. That's what I'd like to see go down. For me, I just want to say, just to answer the question that I've posed myself, I want to see the big match of Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee here and at WrestleMania. I don't need to see the four-way, but I understand WWE logic if they want to give everyone the payday.
Just to add to it, I think that if you add Maxine and Natty, it's a good way to draw out to WrestleMania the fact that you could do 1 week. I know it's really cheap and really poor booking, but it's easy booking. Is you could do, for instance, 1 week Natty and Becky versus AJ and Maxine. Do you know what I mean? As a tag match, or do you know what I mean? Or you can do Natty versus you couldn't do Natty versus AJ. Do like Becky versus Maxine. Do you know what I mean? You could essentially, you've got 4 characters to tell a story, and you know what they used to love doing back in the day was, oh look, we were going to have a match at WrestleMania. Well, we're going to put you together in a tag team, and let's say for instance it's Pierce. Pierce just turns around and goes, all right, well, Becky, you're going to team with AJ and you're going to go up against Natty and Maxine, which doesn't make sense because they're tag partners and they hate each other. But you know what I mean? It's easy booking for WWE. It's lazy booking, but it's easy booking.
And I think WWE could do with some easy booking right now. They are they're having a bit of an up and down period at the moment, especially after Raw. Bless them, it was not a successful show this week. But yeah, final prediction then: Becky versus AJ here.
I'm going with Becky retaining.
I'm going with Becky retaining as well. We're agreeing so far. Just a shout out in our comments section so far. We've got the World Elite podcast in the house. Hope you're doing well. Fellas, good to have you with us. We've got Isham with us as well. Hope I said that correctly. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. We got Mike in the house as well. Says Dominic will defy Finn Balor's orders on not getting involved, will interfere and cost Finn Balor the match. It feels like a popular consensus that that's what could play out here at Elimination Chamber. We will move on next. In the meantime, but keep your predictions coming in. But before we go into the chamber matches, we need to answer the good old-fashioned question: what's in the box? What is in that box that's been delivered to Monday Night Raw, shipped off to SmackDown, been shipped back to Raw, and now, well, it's set to go to Chicago, which I mean is probably going to be on SmackDown first, but will, of course, be inevitably revealed in ring or backstage, who knows, but would probably be better in ring this Saturday in Chicago. I've got a few of the names there suggested and rumored there for us there. I'll bring it back up actually for you. We've got Chris Jericho, of course, who I think a lot of people would like it to be. The connection there, of course, with the box, obviously, that it's a countdown element. It's in Chicago, very similar to countdown of the Y2J bug that we had in 1999, where Jericho would debut in Chicago. But sources like Fightful have said that Jericho's contract is frozen in AEW, so not expected to be him. Seth Rollins was on there, but unfortunately, there's no vision at the moment for him to come back and get revenge on. So there's no point putting him in the box, in my opinion. That could probably rule that out. Royce Keys, just because of the fact I've not seen him, but to be fair, he's been on podcasts recently for WWE. Apparently, the one with Stephanie McMahon is well worth a listen. But there is a man there called Danhausen that is on the screen right now, and he's the bookie's favorite to be in that box this coming weekend, and it does seem a very Danhausen way to bring him into WWE if he is going to be in the box, purely because of the fact that well, he's good friends with CM Punk. We've not seen him in AEW, and I'm quoting Chris Van Vliet here. He's not competed on AEW TV since December of 2023. I'm assuming the contract must be up. I'm assuming that contract is up with AEW. Can't be frozen like Jericho's.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I very much doubt it's frozen that long. I don't get why it's a box. If you're gonna debut someone like Danhausen, is this the best creative we've got for someone of a character of that nature? Like, let's be honest. Don't get me wrong, he's a good wrestler, but he's a character. And if this is the laziest idea someone could come up with, like you can imagine that 8 of them sitting around a table booking. Okay, so how do we book Danhausen's debut? Why don't we just have him sharpen a box? Do you know what I mean? This is such Russo booking. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll be happy to see Danhausen. Danhausen is entertaining, and let's be honest, WWE are lacking entertainment at the minute. My problem is where does he? Where in the show do you do this? Like, this just doesn't figure. Like, this is gonna be a backstage segment. They're not gonna wheel the box out to the stage and open it up for people to say. Oh, man, they could do. To be fair, they could.
They probably could. They probably will.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if it was like Karrion Kross or something. Do you know what I mean? Just like, obviously, there's a video going around. You sent it to me earlier of him doing an interview on Paul Heyman texting. I'm like, oh, that would be cool as anything if it was in. Like, Scarlett Bordeaux is actually from Chicago, so that would make a lot of sense as well. But yeah, it just seems underwhelming. It just feels like meh, can't be bothered. Sure. I mean, look, I don't know. Look, I hope it's. The problem is my expectations are like here. And it's going to be really hard to raise that bar with whatever they decide to go with. I do not have a Scooby-Doo what they're going to do. If it's anything higher than the lowest point, it's a win for me.
Kind of feel the same. I'm not so invested about the box than what I was on week 1, mainly because I was hoping it would be Jericho, just for him to be like, "Hi guys," just come out the box randomly. And I did actually do on the last Q&A suggested the idea of inside the big box, have a little box and open it up with just a phone in there, and it's like it says with a note says "Play me," and you hear Judas, and then it's a case of like I'll be at WrestleMania or I'll be at Raw or whatever. But yeah, we have the open challenge thing already going on, so I think that rules that out as well. So with Danhausen being the bookie's favorite, I kind of feel that's probably the expected name of who it's going to be. And this is where I can move over to Jones's question, which we've been eager to put up since the start of the show. It says, what impact of the reveal will Danhausen have, and if he'll be used in a non-wrestling role to perhaps annoy the GMs like Aldis and Pierce? And do you think there'll be a person behind sending him? Quickly, I'm going to say no on a person behind sending him, just because of the fact that I think he will just be his own thing. I don't think this is like a higher power or anything dark or mysterious. Danhausen is very nice, very evil. He's a very special cat in his own way. Personally, think he should have been in NXT. I think he would have been with his gimmick, because it's so. I think it has a chance to connect with some people.
Eating him up. Yeah, that NXT crowd would have loved it.
Exactly, and I think it's a good way to sort of get your feet under the table in WWE. How you've seen with many other people in NXT. I mean, Ricky Saints has been in NXT for the best part of the last year. But if he is to be there, I think he'll be in a non-wrestling role as well as a wrestling role. But I do agree with you. I'm not sure where he fits in on the road to WrestleMania.
Do you want to know? I can give you the exact person to look at and go, that's Danhausen. That's Hurricane Helms. That is what Danhausen will be to the WWE. Is exactly what the Hurricane was. He will be a comic relief character who will wrestle every now and again, but will be more involved in backstage segments than he will be ever in the ring.
Certainly. And another one you can compare the two currently is R-Truth. And there's the question of, can it be as entertaining on Truth? Could it be Raw's comic relief, where Truth is SmackDown's comic relief?
Danhausen and R-Truth, future tag team champions there.
It could be very fun. It could be very evil.
It could be very evil.
Should we have a bit of fun just before we move on? What is in the box? Wrong answers only. This could get weird very quickly.
Okay. Vince McMahon?
I'm back, damn it. It'll be very poor timing. Triple H is a new era.
I love that one. That's just so good. Nothing.
Just nothing.
Nothing. Packing peanuts.
Travis Scott.
Cody Soul.
God, he's so. The Rock there's there to collect it as well.
Yeah.
What
yeah,
if it's The
exactly.
Rock?
Oh God, no! Get rid of that crap. The 24/7 title.
Could be fun. Could be fun.
Yeah.
Any other wild ones, or should we move on?
Oh, I don't
Hornswoggle.
know. Yeah, Hornswoggle. Give me some really crap wrestler that never made it or just wasn't very good. I don't know. Ryback. I don't know.
Right back. I'll tell you what it could be. The anonymous GM wanting to take over Nick Aldis or Adam Pearce's spot on WWTV.
Teddy Long. Teddy Long.
Just Teddy Long coming in.
Yeah.
Hopefully make a tag team match at least.
Yeah.
There we are. If you've
was
got any
fun.
wild ideas what could be in the box, let us know. We might say a few of them out there for you. But yeah, we're predicting Danhausen. We seem to think that that's the consensus of what it's going to be.
Like I said, my expectations are rock bottom. So anything higher than that is a plus.
Is there a chance that it could be someone that could impact a chamber match and make it a 7-person chamber match? For example, Bianca Belair.
7-pod. I mean, look, the fact that she's been out for so long and has only just recently had surgery on her finger, it's a very good possibility. It just
Don't fit, does
make
it?
sense why it doesn't. Why would you ever in a box for 3 weeks? It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Like I said, I think the best suggestion I heard was it was a 7th chamber for the pod or 5th chamber for the pod. Where you put it, I don't know. Maybe hang it from the ceiling or something. But like the box was big enough that it could have easily been another chamber pod.
Who knows? Who knows? But hey, we've had a bit of fun with it, and hopefully you've had a bit of fun as well. But we will move on in the meantime, as currently it's a 6-chamber match for both of them. Let's go with the women's one first. The winner will be taking on Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. We've got Kiana James, we've got Asuka, we've got Raquel Rodriguez, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, and Tiffany Stratton. If there's something I've noticed in this by just looking at this graphic right now, we've got 5 tag team wrestlers and 1 single star. Are we going to get a swerve going into WrestleMania, or is it simply going to be the single star that's going to win this match here?
I mean, look, dirt sheets are a thing, and the rumors are that the fallback plan is Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. I like Rhea Ripley, but honestly, give someone else a WrestleMania singles match for a title. Like, I like her. I think she's a great wrestler, but give someone else a shot. Put her in a tag team match with EO. Because what are you going to do? You're not going to have the tag team titles defending. You're not going to have EO Sky on WrestleMania because Rhea Ripley is in a singles match for the title. Don't get me wrong, she does double duty, sure, but what's that doing? It's taking a spot away from someone else. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, Kiana James, let's be honest, no chance. She's going to probably get a really good showing, but I don't think she wins this. Mind you saying that, we've been wrong so many times before. Let's go back to what was the NXT one from the end of last year? Iron Survivor Challenge. Yeah, Iron Survivor Challenge, and how wrong we were with that completely. Like we was like, nah, she ain't winning this, and she won it.
Kendall Gray, of course.
Yeah, Kendall Gray had a great showing. Kiana James, again, probably will have a good showing. Tiffany Stratton is obviously the favourite to win this. She's obviously my problem with this match is I don't see where or who is going to do the correct. Bring me back up the card again because my memory is a sieve.
That's fine because I'm going to ask you the order very shortly, so we might as well the graphic up.
So I can't see an EO Sky out of those 6 competitors there. You got Raquel, who's the powerhouse, bog standard, but Rhea Ripley is also technically a powerhouse as well. Bliss, not so much likely to do something insane like jumping off the top of a pod. Asuka, maybe. Tiffany probably could. Kiana James, unsure of. So, like, I think there's elements to this match missing. Like I said, you've got Raquel and Rhea in there. They cancel each other out almost. Like, they're the same character. I'm missing. I don't know. I think I'm missing something from this puzzle, but it's just too easy to pick Tiffany. I think that's my biggest problem.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I think this is fairly predictable. I'm just going to save people some time here. I think Tiffany Stratton's winning here, and it's Tiffany versus Jade free at WrestleMania. They've got unfinished business. If I had to make a little bold prediction of how I think this match is going to go out with people coming in through pods, I think Asuka and Alexa Bliss are going to kick this match off. I think Kiana is third out of the pod. I think Rhea is fourth. I'm going to go with Tiffany fifth, and I think Raquel is going to come out last. I think Raquel Rodriguez is going to be runner-up in this match. I think that she's going to eliminate Rhea Ripley as well. I think Raquel has been
Yeah,
on a bit of a push recently, and I can see that that could be something they might do. The only thing that might be different to what I've said could be Rhea versus Asuka to kick things off, but otherwise, I'm pretty confident with that lineup of how it's going to go.
the reason why I like that runner-up idea is because when Liv faces Stephanie, if Liv wins, you've automatically got, and obviously you've got that whole breakup of the Judgment Day come in. Who's a prime contender to take on Liv if she wins that world title? It's Raquel. So
It's coming.
you imagine at Backlash, you're going to get Liv versus Raquel for that title, and then, do you know what I mean? So again, also she's going to get a great showing, but yeah, her eliminating Rhea, that's a big deal as well. Raquel probably isn't so much in the tag team division because I think Roxanne's injured now as well, isn't she?
She
I
is.
think Roxanne, yeah. So Raquel is kind of like not in the tag division anymore, so she kind of needs something else. So giving her this to then go on to face Liv after Mania is probably the best thing for her. I mean, look, Kiana James is the biggest sort of sticks out like a sore thumb. Like the least likely you would thought to qualify for this match. I very much doubt she wins this and gets a WrestleMania match, like in her I don't know what seventh televised match since she's been on the main roster, something stupid like that. So, yeah, there's a lot more stories to tell. I think coming out of this than there is from it. I don't know, do you know what I mean? It's like I said, I think Tiffany wins and we get Jade. I just I. Th- I think Tiffany as well. If you book Tiffany to face Jade as well, you can almost say that you're yo-yoing the title between the two of them. Whereas I think Rhea Ripley beating a Jade in their first encounter, I think that does more damage for Jade because everyone's already complaining she hasn't defended the title in whatever amount of days. So I think, yeah, Tiffany's probably the soundest bet just because if they put that title back on Tiffany, it doesn't do Jade as much damage.
I think Jade will win if she takes on Tiffany at Mania.
Oh,
I don't think
really?
Tiffany wins. Yeah, I think Jade retains. I think they're still holding off for the idea of a Jade versus Bianca match, if I'm honest with you, for whenever Bianca may be able to return. But I could be wrong. I think the telltale sign with this women's elimination chamber match, which is funny because we're doing the predictions on Thursday, and obviously we have the SmackDown coming up, and Rhea is defending the women's tag team titles. Riho against the irresistible forces of Nia Jax and Lash Legend. If we get new women's tag team champions on Friday, there could be an argument that Rhea's winning this chamber match.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Is obviously this is the problem we have with doing these predictions before SmackDown comes on. Is everything could change come Friday, and then
Mm.
obviously, but then again, what do you do with Io for WrestleMania? You can't not have Io Sky on the WrestleMania card. She's like top 3 wrestlers in the world in the female division.
Io versus Asuka versus Kairi Sane.
Oh, that's so lazy though.
Is it?
I
You
think
you did book this a year ago, and if you look at the storytelling
no,
currently,
yeah,
Asuka and Kairi, the breakup is on, and it's all stemmed as well through Asuka turning on Io Sky. They haven't done the blow off singles match, and they could just do the singles match and then do the Kyrie stuff on the Raw after Mania, but it does again get everyone on the card.
yep. I'd personally, yeah, I mean, look, I did. You're right. I did book this a year ago, but it just feels like this. I'm waiting for the snapping point for Kyrie on Asuka. I think that's what it is. But then it's like, okay, now we have the story between Kyrie and Asuka. Where does Io fit back into that puzzle? Because most of the beef is with Asuka. Kyrie's been kind of like bullied into doing all this kind of stuff. So, look, don't get me wrong. They've got like 5-6 weeks before Mania. They could probably turn it around. This probably is, again, it's lazy and easy booking. But
Mm,
dude, look, like I know we'll get to it later, but the ticket sales for WrestleMania haven't exactly been great.
they
And
have not.
for me personally, I don't think a Kyrie Asuka Io triple threat really sets the precedent for a good WrestleMania. It will probably be one of the best matches on the card, but it will be one of those matches that has no build whatsoever. It will just be a really good match, and I think that was what it will ultimately come down to. Is you'll look back at WrestleMania going, it was a really good match. Unfortunately, it just lacked any sort of, do you know what I mean? It lacked the story for me.
One final question, because I'm purposely not trying to break up every tag team here, but they're all single stuff going on, and it feels like some of it's for a reason. Alexa Bliss is in this chamber match. Kiana James is in here at the expense of Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair was not in this chamber match, and Charlotte Flair was, dare I say, I actually enjoyed her character work with Alexa, with the I'm not in this, I'm fine. She had a very Ross Geller moment on SmackDown last week. I'm fine. With not being in the chamber supporting my friend. Do you think there could be a jealousy factor that it could be Bliss versus Flair at WrestleMania, or do you think they will pull through it and they will go for the women's tag team championships at WrestleMania right now?
I think if you want to get Bliss and Flair on the card, they're going for them tag team titles. And look, we all wanted like a fatal 5-way ladder match for them titles. We're probably not going to get that now. It's probably going to be, now looking at it, Flair and Bliss versus Lash Legend and Nia Jax for the tag team titles. Kyrie, Asuka, EO, triple threat, Rhea versus Jade. But then, and then Raquel goes on to face Liv after WrestleMania. That's probably what's going to happen.
Would that be then Tiffany versus Julia?
I mean, yeah, possibly. I mean, yeah, why not? No, that's probably could be a really good match as well, to be fair. But then again, look, what 6, 7 matches each night. Half of those matches probably won't even make. I very much doubt Flair, Bliss, Jax, Legend would make the WrestleMania card.
Be interesting. So, would that mean your final prediction is Rhea Ripley or Tiffany Stratton? Putting you on the spot now.
I'm gonna go with Tiffany. I'm gonna go with the easy answer. I think again, as much as I like Rhea, I want Tiffany. Like Rhea, put Rhea in a tag team division, give her a tag team match at WrestleMania. She doesn't need to be in a singles match or a triple threat or whatever for a world title every WrestleMania.
I'm agreeing with you on that. I think Tiffany Stratton's winning this. I think it's Tiffany versus Jade one more time. I think Jade's winning, if I had to predict right now. I said that earlier on in the stream, and I think every other person that's a part of a tag team will probably be in that tag team match. I can see Asuka Kyrie being in the team. I can see Rio being the team. I can see Bliss and Flair being the team. Irresistible Forces, stick the Bellas in there as well. Heck, you can even put Kiana and Julia as a tandem as well. 6 teams. You could be having a gauntlet, or you can do something with all 6 teams. You can still stick a ladder in there. But the Bella twins, I think, will be involved in it as well, which makes me a little bit suspect of whether there'll be a ladder involved come WrestleMania. But it's going to be a fun time, and that way everyone does get on the card, and there is room for the matches as well. We will move on. Put that up there again there. We will move on in the meantime then to what will be the men's Elimination Chamber match at this point then. 6 superstars here. We've got Jey Uso, Yeet with Javon Evans, Trick Williams with his Lemon Pepper Steppers. We've got Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and L.A. Knight, all qualifying on Raw and SmackDown. Quite a lineup there. I'm going to keep these up on the screen, actually. I'm going to do this nice and early. I'm going to ask you, realistically, of those 6 names, how many do you think actually has the possibility of winning this match? Realistically.
If in terms of, if you look at it, okay, so if you look at it in a face heel dynamic, 5 of those names can win. If you do it on the basis of believability of facing someone like Drew at WrestleMania, probably 5 of them as well. The odd one out for me is Jey Uso. I don't think Jey has a chance in this match. I think Javon Evans genuinely has a bigger chance of winning this to go to WrestleMania to face Drew McIntyre than what Jey Uso does. I think Jey could be in it because Bronson Reed got injured. And even if Bronson Reed was in there, it would still be the same. I don't think Bronson Reed would be the odd man out. I think LA Knight is a great shout, great possibility. I think everyone wants him to be in a world title scene. again, this is probably the hardest one to call, just in terms of like I said, 4 or 5 of these could win it. I don't think Javon will win it. I think Javon's going to be that spot guy, that. Do you know what I mean? He's going to be doing cutters off the top of chambers. He's going to do a cutter off the top of a chamber, which Randy's going to reverse into an RKO. And Trick is just on the next level already, and the guy's barely been on the roster 5 minutes. I think LA Knight is probably. I think Trick Williams generally probably has more of a chance than LA Knight, and that's saying something again from the heel character dynamic. But yeah, I'm be waffling now, but I'd say look, 4 or 5 of these generally have a chance of winning this.
It's interesting because I feel very different to that. Noob here says pretty much what I'm thinking. The obvious option is Cody Rhodes. I don't think
option.
It is the obvious option. But when calling that lineup up, I see Cody and I see Randy, and the others, for one reason or another, I don't see it. I see John Evans, the big spot in the match, the wow moment, the viral moment going around TikTok afterwards is Javon Evans. I think Trick Williams, this is great experience for him to be involved in an Elimination Chamber match. I think Trick Williams having this opportunity is amazing. So, like you said, he's had an incredible start to being on SmackDown. He's already one of the most over acts, and you can see talk hosts love him when he's on talk shows. The crowds are chanting, "Whoop that Trick!" They're going to have trouble keeping this guy heel. Like, he's that popular. Honestly, he's that over.
He's on rock trajectory. Like, you know how the Rock, like I said, talks about himself in the third person perspective, and the crowd just eat it up. This guy could be this guy. I have no worries about like him being a heel while he's so massively over, because I think he can carry himself so well.
He is the next big thing. He truly is. Like, when you look at, like, for example, Obafemi, yes, literally going to be the next big thing, going to be a world champion. But I think Trick's going to be the first. I really do. I think he is, because he's just got everything in the locker and it's all working for him. But I got a funny feeling that I think Sammy might get involved. There could be a chance Sammy might cost Trick in this chamber. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but that's the direction for them at WrestleMania. It's Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn. They're holding that singles match off. I think that's where it's going. It'd be interesting to see if Sammy's involved in this or not, because Cody's almost told him a little bit, you got to get a little bit dirty if you're gonna do this. The only person really holding himself back is you. LA Knight, it's the participation award. I'd love to see it happen. It's just not going to happen. Rumors are it's him versus Brock. I don't see that happening personally.
The only reason why I would say LA Knight has a chance is because if they want to do Cody versus Randy at WrestleMania, and LA Knight would be my outside favorite to win it over Javon. Trick ain't winning it. He's like heel dynamic at WrestleMania. It doesn't work. It's the biggest stage of them all. I say that Jay exists, unfortunately, and Jay's probably got a bigger chance than LA Knight, but I would prefer LA Knight winning it, because not only do you get that genuine pop of like, oh my God, LA Knight's won, he's also going to be in a WrestleMania match against Drew for a title, and I'm not being funny. His mic work is so good that he would, like, the two of them going mic for like word for word in a promo battle between now and WrestleMania would just be such good TV.
It would be interesting. It would be very interesting. But you mentioned Jey Uso. I think he is. I want to have the right word for him. He's a catastrophe waiting to happen. That's for sure. He's his own worst enemy. He was the guy that branched out. It's just me, Us, day one. Go and win the Rumble. Got to WrestleMania, won the world title, and then it all fell apart. 7 weeks, dropped the title. He hasn't been able to win it back since. He's had multiple opportunities, not got the job done. He didn't work out for him in War Games. He was on the path of what felt like a heel turn. He got rescued by Jimmy. They've got him on the tag team titles. Me and you have said this before. This is not new to you, but Jimmy said, "Go and do it. Go and win the title, WrestleMania. You got my blessing. You got my backing. You can do this." And it's gonna spiral. Jey Uso again. He's going to fail here, and those feelings going to come crawling back up. And I got a funny feeling that they're going to defend the tag titles at WrestleMania. They're going to drop them at WrestleMania, and it's going to be that familiar feeling. It's going to be just too much for Jey Uso.
Turning on Jimmy at WrestleMania is the big turning point.
I think it's happening Raw after Mania, and I think Jimmy's been written off TV.
WrestleMania.
You reckon that Mania?
Yeah, of course, because you want some controversy to come from that show.
Mm.
Jay turning on Jimmy is a big turning point because it will just spark. It's one of them things that will make you want to tune in for Raw to see what happens. So I think for me, it happens at Mania. Like they lose the match, they're in the ring together, and he just super kicks him, beats him down. Don't get me wrong, it's a boring story, brother versus brother, whatever. Honestly, I think Jay just needs to go on like a psychological breakdown of a heel character. Like he just needs to be like get rid of the yeet music as well because I hate that yeeting for 17 minutes and being gassed out before you've even had a match is just so irritating to watch.
Yeah, but if he turns heel, he gets rid of it. He's not going to be eating with the
100%.
crowd if he turns heel. And the thing is, actually, the more you say it, the more I actually like it at
His
WrestleMania
yeet,
because.
sorry, just to cut you off once again, his yeet will become his what chant. So when he talks, the crowd will yeet him because he'll be like he hates it, and it will be his version of what. But yeah, go on. Sorry, you were saying.
No, actually, I love that. That's a really interesting part they could do with the story there. They could really work for his character and work with the dynamic moving forward. But actually, the more I thought about you saying the turn happening at WrestleMania actually works really, really well because of the fact that Jimmy and Jay had the match at WrestleMania 40. It didn't quite work out. Well,
Yeah.
they probably won't get their next match at WrestleMania, but to have the spark and the turn, to have a big moment like that at WrestleMania, when actually almost feeling like a bit of redemption in its own way of how they've managed to progress as a story of those two and how they broke away, come back together, and then going to break away again and change the dynamics, I think could work really, really well.
Even like as well, don't get me wrong, I don't really want this, but this is like proper outside the box thinking. Is like Jay essentially takes out Jimmy. Jay wins world title, IC title, A title. Jimmy comes back, wins that title from Jay in Ultimate Story Climax. Jimmy earns Jay's respect, and they hug and make up. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like it's just one of them stories. We've seen it's been done so many times before with like the Hardys and Edge and Christian and anyone who's ever been a tag team for the longest period of time. It's a really easy story to tell, but it
Mm.
also gives Jimmy some rub because Jimmy, like, just honestly, when's Naomi due as well? This is the other point as well. Like, if you want to write Jimmy off so he can go be with Naomi when she has a kid, having Jay take him out is the best way to do it. Let him go have some time off, spend it with Naomi, spend it with the newborn, come back, win a title. That'd be great. It'd be like, it'd just be like golden TV. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, and it's the perfect way to do it because I think it's around WrestleMania time as well. So if they can get to WrestleMania and then do that, that would be amazing. But could be on the road to WrestleMania, and it could lead to Jay's match singly as a heel. We'll have to wait and see, but time will tell on it. But look, ultimately, we should go to where then I think the believability is in the winner. I think it's either Cody Rhodes or Randy Orton. I'm going to predict Cody Rhodes to win because if we're going to have a singles match at WrestleMania, the story is Cody and Drew. It's not Randy Drew.
Yeah.
However, I don't think WWE is booking to a singles match anymore because quite clearly, Drew has taken out Cody on multiple occasions. He's taken out Jacob Fatu. There is a comment here. It says, looks like we're getting a four-way that could include Randy. I'm going to one-up that. I think we're building to a five-way at WrestleMania. I'd have been content with a six-way, to be fair, with Sammy thrown in the mix as well, because he's part of this story. But Sammy, I think, like I said, has got Trick Williams, and I think they're going to lock that off. But it looks to me that you could have a moment where Drew does cost Cody again in this chamber, finds a way to get in, like Michaels and Taker from 2010, coming from under the ring, hitting the Claymore. Randy will take the win, which then questions their dynamic of legacy. That questions the Randy Orton Cody story. Are they friends? Are they not? Randy took the opportunity. Maybe Randy knows nothing about it. Maybe that's part of the fun as well, that Randy didn't know, but Cody questions it. There's that sort of dynamic going through. Cody then gets the redemption because Nick Aldis sees the screw job, maybe finds a way into the main match. Same with Jacob Fatu. Bing Costa find their way in. Well, Aleister Black has beat Randy Orton this past week on SmackDown. If he's beat the guy that won the Elimination Chamber, surely he's also got a bit of a sense of where he could make a way he could play into this match. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't think Aleister Black is worthy of a night one WrestleMania main event on the way of his booking being over the last 12 months, but we're here, and it looks like WWE are seemingly hitting a bit of a panic button here, and they're trying to get everybody on the card. I would be content with the 4-way that they've mentioned, but the 5-way I think is possible with the amount of players and the storytelling they're doing, because Randy and Aleister Black's been going for a good couple of weeks as well. A part of me feels this could be Randy that wins this, just to throw a shock and just to cause some buzz and just to help build that, to actually make that 5-way an extreme possibility.
Yeah, I agree. You've sold me on it. I think there's a real possibility as well. And like you said, I even forgot that Drew cost Cody in the Rumble. So yeah, again and again, the whole popping up out the ring and cost, or even like, do you know what I mean? That someone's getting taken out of the cage after out of the chamber after a pinfall. The doors open. Drew just runs in, claymores Cody, runs back out. Like you said, Randy pins him. I think it'd be great, and it leaves more intrigue. And again, another reason to tune into Raw on Monday to see the fallout. Come on, guys, it's not that hard to book must-watch TV, but they need to. I'm like, the lazy booking is Cody, and they go with the singles match because it's just like, okay, what's the intrigue there? Drew's been costing Cody for weeks. That's not exciting to watch. But if you go with Randy, and then you add, like I said, Cody into that mix, whatever, could be good stuff, man.
It could be. I mean, the thing is, Drew has actively got involved in people's matches. He's effectively affected Jacob Fatu. He's affected Cody. With the Aleister Black win over Randy on SmackDown, Drew was the reason why. I feel like it's building to the 5-way. I will play it safe. Cody's the prediction, but wouldn't be surprised if it's Randy that wins this.
No, I'm going to go Randy. I should really go LA Knight just to be like completely out of the box, but I'm going to go Randy just because I think Randy winning is more interesting.
Yeah, it's the interesting route to go. It'll be interesting to see, though, if WWE will do that or not. It's going to be fun to see indeed. We have a few comments I want to get through. And Steve, if you're okay with it, I'd like to talk about a couple of other wrestling topics quickly before we wrap up today's video. Lovely. I like that. I like that a lot. Noob says, as for the other matches, the Women's Chamber match, Rhea Ripley's winning. Got there. And we got AJ Lee winning the Women's IC title. Punk retaining the world title. Noob goes on to say, if Rhea Ripley wins the Chamber and Rio loses the tag team titles to Lash and Nia tomorrow on SmackDown, what are you going to do with Io? You can't rush Io versus Junior. Save that for Italy, says Noob. However, Asuka versus Io, WWE's been holding it off since 2023. Now it'll be the perfect time to do it. Not a lot of people want Asuka versus Kairi, but Asuka screaming Kairi's name is a repeated gag, and it's a boring gag as well, to be fair at this point. I mean, yeah, Noob has some points, and we've talked about a lot of that there already in this stream here with the potential here. But do you think that ultimately Rhea goes solo, or Rhea and Io are a team? What's going into WrestleMania here? If you had to pick one or the other.
Rhea goes solo just because we then get Rhea versus Io. That's probably the end goal. Because Rhea wants that win over Rhea.
That would be interesting. That would be a different twist that we've not talked about at all. And that would be WrestleMania worthy as well. Would be WrestleMania worthy. Wouldn't be against it, if we're being fair. Let's talk about a couple of other topics then. WWE struggling with the old ticket sales, it seems to be, with WrestleMania 42, suggesting hitting of a panic button, and they've not been selling out in general early in 2026. Now, I don't know if you remember, NXT, I made a little bold prediction at the end of 2025, and this is why I think WWE are not selling out arenas. Yes, okay, I will agree the creative is not at its strongest. Yes, I will agree the tickets are darn so expensive. They are pricing out the average fan. WWE is a family market. This is not the UFC. You need to do your research. Yes, you got away with it last year doing extortionate prices. But what was the difference from last year to this year? You had the John Cena retirement tour. It was so special. 20 to 25 years. People were willing to make the sacrifice to see John Cena one final time in their town or their country. They knew they were not going to get to see it again. While the product on the side of the John Cena run, which arguably included Cena as well, some of the creative booking was not at its best. As NXT said at the start of the video, we are on a slow decline right now. in the booking schemes of WWE. It's not at its strongest. So when you combine no John Cena, no strong creative booking, really expensive ticket prices, and like I say, WWE is a family market. People that want the TV 14, fair enough, you're willing to want that. But the market that makes WWE its strongest is its family market. That's why it was selling so darn well. And if you look back to WrestleMania, was it 39? Tickets have gone up like times like 10 since then. And it's only in the space of 3 years. And the blame a lot of that, I think, has to go in the face of TKO. They are not recognizing the market and the target audience that they are working with.
I think I saw the God seats had gone from like £500 for both nights. Like for a 2-night ticket, I think were like $500. I think they've gone up to something like $850 for God tier seats. Who pays $850 for the worst seats in the house? It's just criminal.
At one point, they were $1,000 per night.
Yeah,
per night.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is like they keep releasing these nostalgia titles. Like they've just released another version of CM Punk's spinner title, but it's the Chicago Blackhawks one because you know that's his team. $600. Why? There's going to be such a small niche audience for a CM Punk spinner Chicago Blackhawks title. Now, don't get me wrong, they probably did sold out, but when you look at his first one that came out, sold out instantly. It was phenomenal. What's a Chicago? Can you see I think Blackhawks is an ice hockey team. Can you see a Pittsburgh Penguin fan buying a CM Punk Chicago Blackhawks spinner title? Nope. Can you see an Anaheim Ducks fan buying a CM Punk Chicago Blackhawks title? It's such a niche thing. It's just something so awkward that, like don't get me wrong, I know America's a big place and it's got loads of people in it, but you're picking one specific team from one city. Your market is so incredibly small, and then you overcharge for what it is as well. It's ridiculous. And I know there's people out there that will buy it because you see them on TikTok and Instagram and whatever. There's people that just have every single title they've ever released. Good on you, fair enough. But I bet you now he's sitting there looking at that Chicago Blackhawks belt and going, I don't really like it because I don't support the Blackhawks. I've spent $600 on essentially a rival team's customized belt. I'm not being funny. I wouldn't go and spend $600 on a Tottenham Hotspur themed CM Punk replica belt. And I like CM Punk, but I really don't like Tottenham that much. So why would I do it?
Neither do I. This is we don't like Tottenham podcast. If you support Tottenham, probably not the place for you. But no, I get your point entirely. And it's a niche market, and usually with especially when something costs so much, you'd expect it to be at least go to a bit of a wider audience. That's the idea with these things. So I kind of agree with all of that with the marketing.
Like I said, I get the whole the team based ones. Like you said, you can get the New England Patriots, you can get the Bills, you can get the Browns, you can get whatever. You can get them fine. But a CM Punk themed Chicago Blackhawks belt is just such a niche market, man.
It really, really is, honestly.
I'm a Blackhawks fan that doesn't like CM Punk.
It's true. It's so true. They're hard to find, but it's so true. Noob says WrestleMania 42 is going to be make or break time for WWE because creative needs to go into overdrive because fans on social media are already calling WWE out as we speak. Absolutely, there are some fans that are not happy.
They do not care. They just want your money.
That's true. It's very true. Look, ultimately, I will defend WWE slightly, just play devil's advocate for a moment. Everyone was really bored with the idea going into WrestleMania 42, and then they switched things up and gave Drew the title. It did give a sense of questioning going into the Rumble, which didn't play out as well in the end. We are still questioning a couple of things going into Chamber, and so there is the seed of doubt.
However, so what you're saying is, if we don't spend money, the creative gets better. It's essentially what you're telling me. If we don't buy tickets to WrestleMania, creative gets better.
You're forcing their hand.
Yeah.
You're forcing their hand
Very
because they wouldn't
unfair.
put bums in seats.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
No one
didn't
wants
sell
to
out
see
half the.
Cody. No one wants to see Cody versus Roman Reigns for the 3rd year in a row. We've seen it so many times before. Problem is the people that people want to see on WrestleMania aren't going to make it.
They didn't sell out half of the last European tour.
Oh, and we won't talk about the Saudi show, the Royal Rumble show, because that definitely didn't sell out.
No, no. And the moment they're currently, I don't think sold out Chamber. I don't know the tickets allocation, but I heard that they've not sold out there, and they're not selling out of Mania. And it's not just because of creative. Look, don't get me wrong, better creative and people it will be higher than what it is. But I think ticketing, they need to look at the target audience. That's the real problem here with this.
But yeah, but it's not even that. Like they go out and do these European tours, and they get stiffed because like Italy's getting Clash in Italy this year, aren't they? But guess what?
Yes.
If you want a ticket, you've got to buy it where it comes with a ticket to SmackDown as well. So you got to pay double the price because you have to go to 2 shows because they won't release individual tickets until like the week of the show when they haven't sold out.
Absolutely.
Which
Absolutely.
it probably will sell out because it's in Italy and it's their first ever pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's possibly one that will, of that entire tour. That will be the one that will. And they'll get all of European fans from all over the place. It won't just be Italy either, I would have thought, with that one. But yeah. Next one I want to quickly talk about, the Vision. Bronson Reed, unfortunately injured on Monday Night Raw, potentially lost his spot in the Chamber. So now from the original Vision members that we had, which was Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman, everyone apart from Paul Heyman is injured. And now we're left with just Paul Heyman, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory. Has the Vision's vision of being the new Evolution become the new Ryback?
They've de-evolved.
They really have. They really have.
Yeah, but why do you think Paul Heyman was on TV with Brock Lesnar this week? Because he's like, hey, I can work miracles, but working miracles for Logan Paul and Austin Theory, I cannot do.
No, he's quickly moved away from those guys. And that moves us quite nicely on to Brock Lesnar because obviously he's returned this week. We've been given his schedule going into WrestleMania. That was weird. We know every town he's going to be in and for the next 6 weeks. And instead of building a story, he's just put an open challenge. So it's a bit of a strange one when he's seen as the main attraction, the second main event outside of the title match. The guy that ended an undefeated streak of The Undertaker, he got rid of that. Yet still, this guy is just throwing out an open challenge. There's no story going to be going into WrestleMania. Maybe a couple of people will step up along the way and get thrown to the side. Who is going to answer that open challenge? I mean, there's a couple of names you could throw into mind that could be the one. LA Knight is a rumored name for me. I don't want to see it. I just don't think it works for me. There is Gunther. I'm going to be honest. I think he is going to be going against Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. I think Rey is the next one that's going to suffer the career killing here as a result of Gunther. And the last one who I think it should be is Obafemi because it doesn't need a build. And to be honest, Paul Heyman said this past week, this is a chance for someone to make their name on a WrestleMania. And Brock Lesnar, they said they don't stand a chance against the Brock Lesnar, a main event guy, the guy that ended the streak is the next big attraction. But this is an opportunity, if it's Brock's last WrestleMania, to make that next guy. And Oba's that perfect next guy to make, isn't he?
You've missed the one name that has a small percentage chance of actually being his opponent at WrestleMania. That is Kit Wilson.
Toxic.
Who is the most toxic man in pro wrestling? Brock Lesnar. Who is the anti-toxic person? Kit Wilson. That is probably going to be Obafemi. And the best part is those two for the next however many weeks, they're just going to fight jobbers. Like, bring back Spike Dudley for Brock Lesnar just to absolutely destroy him for like 3.5 minutes.
What Spike?
Whatever. Yeah. Look, Apollo Crews is probably going to be one of them guys that gets absolutely battered. Kit Wilson is going to get destroyed every week by Obafemi going forward. And then eventually it's just going to be them two facing each other.
Are we back into wrong answers only?
No. Definitely not.
I think it's got to be Oba. I think it's the perfect thing to do. It's the perfect way of passing the torch. And to be fair, those two, they had a minimal interaction in the Royal Rumble, and with the interaction they did have in the Rumble, you could build a story off of it, but this is probably just WWE's way of saying we can't find a way to connect the dots, so let's just do it this way. Open challenge.
Booking.
A little bit. A little bit. It's lazy booking. They should be doing better for us. The reason why they can't sell tickets, this is part of it.
This is how lazy your creative is, where you don't even have a match for Brock Lesnar. You just have to do an open challenge. Sure. Okay.
It worked though for Seth a couple of years ago when Cody returned. Could there be a massive shock on the cards that we just don't see? I mean, we got bonkers. LFC is saying obviously Oba being one, but Royce Keys being potentially another.
Royce Keys, I'm be surprised if I ever see him on TV ever again.
I think he will come back. There was that rumor going around that he lied about his age, and it's changed on the Wikipedia page. But he's on WWE podcast this week, and WWE made a real big thing of like check out his interview with Stephanie this week, with Stephanie Man on her podcast. So I think it's not the last we've seen of him. Noob says Oba Fane will be the perfect opponent for Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 42. I completely agree. The only way I'd pick anyone different would be say Kevin Owens could come back in time. That would be the only one I'd go. I'd love that.
Oh no, definitely not. I don't want the guy to be killed in his first match back with Brock Lesnar.
Whoever Lesnar faces, Lesnar has to lose. It just is the right time for that, in my personal opinion. Yeah. Case closed. Oba versus Brock. That's give me what I want. Give me what I want. That was Batista, wasn't it? A former, or should have been WWE Hall of Famer. He's not quite gone in the class yet, but someone who's coming in the class this year is AJ Styles. Obviously, was announced on Raw, was taken by surprise by Taker. He's come out and said, by the way, he went on Gallows and Anderson's podcast and said a few words and said that about people wanting to go to AEW, and said pretty much he's loyal to WWE. He's retired. He's happy with his retirement. That's what he wanted. It's poetic, Royal Rumble 16 to Royal Rumble 2026. He's going in the Hall of Fame, and he wants to literally help the next generation. That's what his role will be with WWE moving forward. And great to see him in the Hall of Fame, by the way. It was a very emotional video package on Raw this past week.
Yeah, I mean, look, totally earned, totally justified, deserves to be in it. Shocked he's going in this early, but if anything says, please don't go to AEW, it's we'll put you in the Hall of Fame. I think there was someone backstage was slowly wetting themselves at the prospect that AJ Styles could go to AEW for the next year or two. So they went, we'll put him in the Hall of Fame this year. We'll tie him up to a Legends contract. So he's going to still be making appearances at like these Saudi shows and all this kind of stuff, still getting paid money, just none of the wrestling. So yeah, I think someone, i.e. a Triple H, was probably slowly terrified and was probably slightly shaking in his boots that AJ could go to AEW. But yeah, I don't blame AJ for not wanting to wrestle anymore, but I can also blame him that I think there's some matches there that we've possibly missed out on, like just to name a few: Swerve Strickland versus him, the modern day version of Will Ospreay. Mate, even a John Moxley, an MJF versus AJ Styles. Don't get me wrong, all great matches that probably could have been really good, but I don't blame him. He's going to get a haircut soon as well, which I'm more mortified by that, if I'm honest.
Hey, I'm not against the haircut, to be fair, but yeah, just one more name to throw in there. Andrade El Idolo's presentation since going back to AEW has been nothing short of exceptional. Would have been nice to have seen AJ Styles versus Andrade in AEW, but yeah, no, I completely understand. Hangman Page as well being another one to throw out there, but yeah, look, ultimately, I'm very pleased for AJ Styles, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, probably top 3 of one of my favorite wrestlers ever. Incredible run in WWE. I'm pleased to see him staying put. And look, the thing is, if you go back to his time of 2001, when he debuted in WCW, WWE bought it. They offered him a contract and he said no at the time. He went to support his wife and he went off and did his own thing, did TNA, went to Japan. And when the time was right, WWE waited patiently and they brought him in and they made him a top star. And they gave him, well, he said a free world tour. He went around the world and he wants to give back. It's always been WWE. Yes, his friends work elsewhere, but he's happy where he is. So look, I think we can put to rest the idea of Styles going to AEW now to rest. I don't think that's coming. But look, AJ Styles, Stephanie McMahon, that's the Hall of Fame class this year so far. It's a strong looking class. Rumor names, or perhaps maybe guessing names of who could be joining. I think we'll get 2 more names that probably will join. We'll usually a tag team and another single star. I'm going to predict Demolition that will be joining them in Hall of Fame. I think it's the right year for them. There is the Midnight Express that could be someone that could be called in. I know Triple H likes his old school tag teams. Maybe a Nasty Boys could be one as well. But I think Demolition, long overdue. They've sorted all this stuff out now with the legal stuff that in the past. So I could see them being inducted into the Hall of Fame. A final name that you could throw, there's loads of ones out there that could be a lot of fun. You know, you Ken Shamrocks is someone I've always wanted to see in the Hall of Fame. William Regal, I think, would be a good one to see go in. I think that his time is long overdue to be called in. So, yeah, he would be my suggestion.
Where's Batista's bloody Hall of Fame entrance? He was meant to have that like 5 years ago, and they still haven't inducted him.
He's got to be a headline act. I think he's too busy doing movies, and they've got too many headline acts. So I don't think he's going to be going in just yet.
Yeah, just like I'm trying to sit there and think, depending on what certain people are doing and whether they're retired or not. Look, man, I'm trying to think of female wrestlers. Anyone that really pops to mind, and again, I don't think she's really done wrestling, would be Paige. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that could probably go in as well, like
Mickey James, China.
Yeah, Mickey James, yeah. No, Mickey James, and the only reason why China should go in, but it's kind of like without her being here to take the award, this feels like it's going to be a very small Hall of Fame class. I'd say Mickey James.
Absolutely. And the match as well is always an interesting one because you want to sell tickets to the Hall of Fame. You could easily do Taker versus Shawn as the match from WrestleMania 25. I still think they could be saved for Saudi Mania, but then they could also do Rock and Hogan for Saudi Mania if they're going to get the Rock over there. So they might do Taker versus Shawn this year and do Rock versus Hogan for next year as their immortal match. So
yeah, I mean, like, there's a catalogue of them really. So I don't get me wrong, I like it, but it's such a neat, like, it's so hard, like, because essentially who picks these matches? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not being funny. I'm pretty sure if you go on the WWE website, there's probably a list of like the 100 greatest matches in WrestleMania history as voted for by the fans, which essentially they could just do that for the next 100 years.
Yeah, easily done. Easily. Jumping Angel Bombs, suggested they're from Noob, great tag team from the late 80s. Women's tag team as well.
Can't say I'd ever heard of them. If I'm honest, it's the first time I've ever heard that name.
If you go back, I think they might be on either the 88 or the 89 Royal Rumble. They might be on one of those doing the tag team match. So you will find them on the old shows somewhere. Here we go, a couple more comments, and then one last thing I want to say, and then we can wrap it up today. Noob says, let AJ Styles enjoy his happy ending of his post-WWE. All these AEW fans need to let these AJ Styles and all elite rumors die out, and I think they will now from this point onwards. And Bonkers LFC fan says, what if it's Jericho and Brock at WrestleMania?
Jericho would never, with their history, no, I very much doubt it'll ever be Jericho versus Brock.
Be a big time match. The only thing I would say that a match like that would need promoting. I feel that they should promote a match like that if they're going to do it, because that's something that would get some bums in seats. But it's an interesting suggestion. I personally don't rule it out. It would be an interesting way to bring Jericho back in. But rumors are the contract's frozen, so it would suggest he would need to go back and finish up in AEW first before he could go anywhere else. Yeah. But time will tell on that, I guess, when it comes to that. My last topic I want to talk about, and then we'll wrap it up, is Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan is obviously made a choice for WrestleMania. Going to be taking on Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World Championship. Seemed to be the right decision, in my opinion. I think it was the only choice. The story has been building since her return last November. Of course, we've teased it through as well with Stephanie Vaquer versus Raquel Rodriguez for a number of months as well before we got the Royal Rumble with Liv Morgan winning. We had the impassionate promo as well of the 10 years hard work, and Stephanie Vaquer pretty much laughing at the idea of that, saying that Liv Morgan's had it all handled on a silver platter, and with having the best trainers, the best facilities, and the best company behind her, where Stephanie Vaquer's had it very different. I'm intrigued where the storyline's going to go with this one. I think that Liv versus Stephanie's got potential to be a really good story going into WrestleMania, judging on what we've seen so far.
Yeah, don't be wrong. It's probably like It's one of my most anticipated matches because like Stephanie Vaquer is like one of my favorite female wrestlers currently, and Liv, although I would say Stephanie Vaquer is a better wrestler, Liv's character is obviously more intriguing as well. So I think that they balance each other out greatly. Liv still is a really good wrestler, but Stephanie Vaquer, let's be honest, Stephanie Vaquer just is levels above, and I'm genuinely excited to see what those two can put on, and if we can get more of those subtitled Spanish promos in for Stephanie Vaquer, I think it would work so much better in the story they're trying to tell with them too.
Especially with Dominic being able to translate to Liv as well. I think that's a very, very key component in that as well, because then Liv can react in real time as well, and it works so effectively.
Like
so, yeah, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing with this so far. And early prediction, I think Liv Morgan is going to walk away the Women's World Champion from WrestleMania, which will lead to a jealousy factor from Raquel. And like I say, I think the Judgment Day breakup is on, and that just leads to Raquel turning on Liv Morgan, potentially with Roxanne by her side.
Smart booking.
Certainly could be. We'll see if it plans out. Well, we've like to think we've come up with hopefully some smart booking in this video. But before we do, Eric, writing at the death, writing with the death. But thankfully, I can answer this question for you, my friend. So sit back. Can you please explain the difference between the Lion Tamer and the Walls of Jericho, the two moves that Jericho pretty much used? So the Lion Tamer in WCW is more famous of where also a Boston Crab, but the knee was more effective in the back. The twist was a lot more brutal of how Jericho would have the knee going into the back, and almost the body of the person wasn't sort of like laid stomach on the ground. He was kind of hanging in the air as well with the impact of the knee in the back. So that's the Lion Tamer. The Walls of Jericho is effectively a Boston Crab. Jericho kind of abandoned the knee in the back about a year into his time in WWE and just sort of turned over, and it pretty much became a Boston Crab. So that's pretty much the difference between the two of them, if you ask my personal opinion. And Eric says, where does Dom go? Dom stays with Liv Morgan for the time being. I can't see them breaking up at this particular time.
Dino nuggies.
Absolutely. He knows where he gets his chicken tendies from. And we need a wrestling wedding. It's been too long. Dominic and Liv Morgan for a wrestling wedding. Would you like to see in 2026?
I mean, sure. I mean, do you know the best part is Aaliyah is apparently in training in the PC.
Really?
You could have Aaliyah versus Liv, and like she's the reason why the wedding doesn't go through. That'd be great storytelling.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I'd like to see Dirty Dom's suit. I think that'd be really interesting.
Oh, he'd be like, remember, was it Edge that had an all white suit when he married Lita?
Yeah,
it'd be exactly the same, just all white suit. You can just imagine it with Dom. Or no. It'd be like a cow print suit.
I can say a cow print suit would be the way.
Suit.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be horrendous.
It would be. It would be so Dom.
Yeah, would be.
If they need a DJ, I'm available. Yeah, anyway, we'll wrap it up there. Massive thanks to everyone for their comments on this video. And massive thanks to NXT Steve as well. You've got a bit of a bonus there of current wrestling topics along with your Elimination Chamber predictions. Let us know your predictions in the comments below. And if you're watching this on delay, thank you so much. You give up nearly an hour and a half of your time. Really kind of you indeed. But make sure as well to, pretty much follow the channel. We're going to look to get an Elimination Chamber review show up for you as well. And of course, next week is NXT Vengeance Day, and I have spoken off the air to a potential guest. AEW Revolution predictions will be coming in a couple of weeks as well. I might be catching up with AEW, so yeah, expect some more AEW content maybe coming to the channel very soon. But thanks for watching. Look after yourselves and each other. If you can't get enough, why don't you go and just watch the last rewind if you haven't seen it already? Myself and then Nick Steve talking about No Way Out 2005. Thank you for watching. Look after yourselves and each other. And it wasn't that bad, yeah. Go and check it out. We had a good time. Thanks for watching. Take care. And our question for you, if you're actually going to be answering something, wrong answers only. What's in the box?